Hi, I'm Sandy from Cube 3, and today it's my job to guide you through the new Battletoads for Xbox One. Let's begin with a look at the series past. Battletoads first came out in 1991 on the Nintendo Entertainment System. Developed by Rare, it's a solid little game which had a rock-hard difficulty that put a lot of players off. Against all the odds, it spawned a short series, but the last game, Battletoads Arcade, was released in 1994 and was generally well received. Then, silence. Now, 26 years later, Rare and Delilah Studios brings us a reboot of the franchise. It's more than a retro throwback, it's a crazy new beat 'em up. Our three titular heroes are washed up and lost in fantasy when the game kicks off. They're stuck fantasizing about their heroic past, letting players run and smash during a flashy tutorial level which pulls none of its punches, before they're suddenly and unceremoniously pulled out of their fantasies and pushed back into being washed up and poor. This storyline gives the developers the freedom to experiment with other gameplay styles. Act 1-2 is a montage of incredibly hilarious minigames that have an emphasis on repetitive tasks being completed quickly, and Act 1-3 is everybody's least favourite hoverbike levels, just like in the original game. It's a great, varied intro that is not only very difficult, but also somehow not frustrating, as the game lacks a life system, opting instead for checkpointing only. For anyone who played Arcade all those years ago, you'll be instantly familiar with the gameplay here. Light punches, heavy punches, specials, and morph moves being strung together in a variety of combos. It's incredibly responsive to play and very satisfying to fight. Enemy variety is pretty ace too, with many different types per level and many variations on one theme, with guarding enemies and tanks. It's really designed to keep players on their toes, in single player or co-op modes. As stated before, the difficulty can be incredibly unforgiving, with very short dodge windows, enemy management and hard-hitting bosses. Death will be your friend throughout the entire game. With the developer opting not to include a life system, the game allows players to keep smashing into an obstacle until they break through. In co-op, there is a revival mechanic which allows for some risk and reward during harder encounters. The hoverbike levels from the original make a return here, but from a shifted perspective. This time it's played from behind the bike, and is both incredibly satisfying to master and absolutely hilarious to lose. In co-op, this can get quite ridiculous as players smash into objects, lose track of their toad during the frenetic action, and generally get drunk on adrenaline and laughter. It's a fantastic old time. The local couch co-op gameplay is a feature that totally elevates the game, though a certain pandemic may make it hard to use. Playing with up to 3 players is not only more fun, but even makes the most insurmountable levels devolve into laughing fits and adrenaline-fueled one more try mindset. It's the way to play if you can do. In single player, things are still fun, but bosses are significantly tougher. When playing co-op, each player controls a toad individually, meaning it's essential to play as a team in the brawling levels. In the single player, however, you can tag in and out toads depending on what gameplay style best suits the challenge. Oh, that's right. Each toad controls differently, with a faster but weaker, large but slower, and a middle ground character as you'd expect. This adds an element of strategy in the single player. Each toad has their own flashy morph attacks, and to be honest, while they are flashy and powerful, it's hard to understand the reasons behind what the morphs are, from chicken hands to weird werewolf moves. Where the game initially missteps is the absolutely bizarre humour that failed to land for this reviewer until the very end of Act 1.1, where the game pulls a fast one on the main characters. The dialogue was cringy, delivered in a rather unpleasant rhythm, and generally a bit off. Maybe it's a sign of age that the more crude humour didn't land. Still, the subversive humour, the lengths the game goes to make things awkward, is just stunning to behold. It legitimately brought out some genuine deep belly laughs, which happens rarely in this climate of serious, big, open-world adventure titles. For example, the toads get regular jobs for one level, and the game actually makes players live through each toad's job. It's spectacularly comical and landed far better than expected. This style of humour is then used throughout the rest of the adventure. Sound-wise, it makes fantastic use of the Battletoads soundtrack, smashing your ears with heavy electric guitars as soon as the game loads up, and featuring some genuinely head-bobbingly fun tracks. This helps carry the fun atmosphere of the game through every level. More than once the music was so distractingly great that the hoverbikes careened off into the scenery as we drifted off into some form of trance. The sublime sound is paired with some shiny and rather stylish visuals. Calling right back to the other games in the series, designs of the Toads are similar, though not the same as their arcade variants, and enemies, levels, and cutscenes benefit from the same stylings and attention to detail as the main characters. There is an eye-melting amount of colour on show, from vibrant pinks and golds to the more industrial greys, blues and browns. Never was there an occasion where the player characters blended into the background, allowing for plenty of action without the players being confused. It's a visually very competent game, and only really overshadowed by the smoothness of Streets of Rage 4, which came out only a few months prior. Cube 3 scored this game an 8, citing, "It's a retro comeback that not only revives the Battletoads for fans, but one that elevates the series to a new high. Truly the developer has worked some magic to make this game the best it can be, and I'll be damned if they didn't knock it out the park." There's very little wrong in Battletoads that can stop this game from being a star recommendation. The small amount of missteps it does have don't hurt the experience in a meaningful way. It's an absolutely fantastic retro revival, and it's nice to see Rare credited on a game that is genuinely great.